Hey, what's going on? In this video, we're going to talk about the difference between standard weights and conditional weights. And these are the things that give you space, right, between your emails. So they're important. They're real important. And I'll share some feedback with you based on what I'm doing. And let me show you this. So after I have a sales call for my high-ticket service for my clients, if people don't buy on the first call, I put them into what I call my nurture. So my nurture is 14 emails, 10 text messages, 2 ringless voicemails at this point. And I have a cadence, or I have a plan and spacing in between these emails that works. So after that phone call, 2 days later, people get a text. And you're seeing examples of fixed weight periods and conditional weights, and I'll talk about those. A couple days later, another email. Another day later, a text. 2 days later, another email. 3 days later, another text. 4 days later, another email. So as we start to go downstream, it starts getting spaced out more. 1 week, 1 day for a ringless voicemail. 2 weeks, another email. 1 month, and then we really start spacing things out. 1 month. 1 month, 2 months, 2 months, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. So it gets slower, then I start to build the intensity back up. Check out these open rates. Okay, these are people that I'm actively trying to sell stuff to. Open rates are stupid. So the spacing, email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It starts going back up. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm showing you that to let you know that what I'm talking about does work. So let's talk about this. So a concern I hear, we're going to talk about spacing with emails and different ways you can do it. Concern I hear all the time, every week, is I don't want to bother people. Okay. I don't want to bother people. So I used to have the same mentality, and I would follow up with somebody 4 or 5 times with automation, then I was done. They didn't buy, I was going to leave them alone, didn't want to bother them. So a couple years ago, I was sitting right here in this, not this same chair, same office, new computer, new desk, everything's different, same office, same business. And I thought, man, I wonder how many touch points it takes for me to make a sale. So I did a bit of research and watched it for a while, and I determined it was actually about 15 plus. Now, a touch point can be a text message, an email, a Zoom call, etc. So I started to really follow this customer journey. So what I did is I just started adding more emails and more texts and more ringless voicemail. And as I got further away, I spaced it out. You have to think about this. If somebody calls a heating and air conditioning company today, they're probably not calling for fun. There's probably a reason. So their seriousness about maybe buying something or getting somebody out there is pretty high. And as you get further away from that time, it goes down. Same thing with buying a car. So the intensity is more intense, at time of initial engagement. It gets less intense as time goes on. But the power is not in the messaging like you might think. To some degree it is. The power is in staying on their radar, right? The touch points matter because you're like, hey, I still exist. How about that? Here's a little thing to twist your curiosity, or here's a little social proof. So that's really where the power is. And I thought, if people aren't buying at 5 emails or 5 touches, what's the harm in extending it longer? What, are they going to still not buy? That's okay, right? Because I'm not losing anything. But if people start coming around and buying, then I've created more revenue with no additional work. I just have to write the email once, right? So using weight sequences and getting emails out there for a longer period of time is advantageous. So your first option is a fixed weight. It's exactly what you think. So many days, minutes, hours, weeks, months, years. The shortest time frame that you can possibly do in an automation is 5 minutes. Okay? Can't do any shorter. So you have conditional weights, which are right for what you want. So you might have an email go out. Okay. And you might wait 5 minutes and send a text message. In fact, I do that very same thing a bunch. And sometimes what I'll do in that text message is I'll say, hey, see that email I sent you a few minutes ago, or something like that. So that makes perfect sense, and it's very self-explanatory. Now, what's different is the conditional wait. The conditional wait, you go to the same place, conditions and workflows, go to wait, and you saw that, right? It's going to pop up and say, wait until specific conditions are met. There's also, so you're seeing this same type of conditions available with conditional logic, right? Same choices. Now you also see this continue automation if conditions are not met within a specific time frame. So gives you some versatility there. If we look back in my account, here's a condition. Wait till current time is on or after 8 a.m. in the context time zone, and the time is on or before 8 p.m. And the reason that's a good idea for certain types of communication is, I've done this, you don't want to text somebody at 2 a.m. on a Sunday because they'll respond and they're not going to be happy. So with email, it's not as important, but with text, it's hitting their phone. It's pretty important to think about that stuff with text. You may decide Sundays are a no-go. I don't want to contact people on Sundays. So just for the days of the week and the delivery of your emails and texts, conditional waits make sense. Other conditional dates that are real popular are date-driven. So you may say, I'm going to scroll down here. And again, get in here and play around with this to see what's possible to give you some great ideas. You may say, I've got something going on. Today's May 1st when I'm making this. You may say, let's see, my time zone is, what are the options? Is after. You may say after the month of May, right? I want people to move forward in this automation. So they may filter in for 30 days and they get stuck here. And then after it becomes June 1st, they start to flow through. So there's a lot of different things you can do with conditional waits, and just like conditional logic, you can, same type of options, right? You can make it very complex to add different segment groups and keep going, do all kinds of crazy stuff. But again, I would caution you to keep it simple. The times, the days of week, the date specific stuff is like the most common type of conditions that I've used with the wait conditions and what I've seen clients use as well. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Usually with, and I'll show you one kind of almost a third category to this. Okay. So this is going to get a little bit off track, but I'll bring it back around, I promise. So let's see here. I've got to design an email. And this is for accounts, if you're on the old ActiveCampaign plans that no longer exist. This is on the old Pro plan, or if you are on the new Pro plan, like under the Sales and Marketing bundle, there is a feature called predictive sending. Okay, so we are going to show you how you set that up, and this is interesting and relevant, I promise. Okay, all right, good. So we created that, and it's going to ask me because I have it on the Sandbox account. All right, sending with predictive sending. So it's going to use AI and fire out this email when each contact is most likely to open it. Now, if you leave it configured like this, people will flow right through it. So in order for this to work properly, you actually have to put a conditional wait underneath of it. And the specific conditions you're waiting for, you go to Action, and then you go to Has Been Sent, and you have to reference the email above it. So it's going to be Campaign, and it's going to be, you got to find that email 1, and it's created today. So email number 1, and it's right here. That's today's date. Okay. So the people will go through here and get stuck here until predictive sending decides to send it. Then they'll drop down. So what you actually have to do with predictive sending is you have to understand, hey, this might be 24 hours, might be less, might be a little more. And then you want your hard wait, like I want this to be at least 2 days between this and the next email. You put your hard date below it, and then you put in your next email, right? So, and I won't template this one out, but I'll explain this real quick. So here's an interesting scenario where you actually need both. You need both conditions set up to make this work properly. So again, somebody comes into this, they flow through this and get stuck here. When predictive sending decides to send out the email, they'll finally drop 2 days. So you have a minimum of 2 days between these two emails, and then whatever you have set up goes beyond there. So that's interesting. Didn't want to get into predictive sending too deep, but I want you to see just some ideas. These are very self-explanatory. These can be very powerful. In some cases, they really need to work together. Okay, so I hope that gives you some thoughts, some ideas about your different options over here under conditions and workflow. And this is the wait stuff. Hope this is getting your wheels turning. I feel like it probably is at this point in the course. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.